Okay, now we're ready for cost accounting, or process cost, I guess you might call this. We've done job cost, which looks at an individual job with specific cost. Now we're going to use process cost, which looks at processes rather than individual jobs. And this is usually used in manufacturing, more than likely. And in this assignment, we're going to look at work in process. We're going to look at how to calculate equivalent units a couple of times. We're going to look at how to assign costs to equivalent units, and then we're going to look at equivalent units and conversion costs. So we're kind of going to cover all of the components for process cost, and then in the homework, we're going to do a cost summary sheet, and I will walk you through that also. But let's get the components down first, and then we'll move on to the putting it all together in a picture. So there will be a video for the homework also, so don't freak out. Now, first of all, we got to figure out how to calculate work in process. How much is there? Well, we received 45,000. We completed 42,800. We started with 400 or 4,000, and we had an ending process of 6,200. There's a lot of peripheral information you don't really need in this thing. What we're looking for this one is, what did we start and complete? Well, we completed 42,800, but we already had 400 started. So, and this is really an important distinction here. Started and completed are different than what has been completed. So you completed 42,800. You began with 4,000. So you actually started and completed, watch the terminology, 38,800. Just wanted to kind of play with that terminology a bit. Now on this one, we're going to look at equivalent units. So even though I started with 4,000 in there, those may not have been totally through the process. So now we're going to look at it at beginning inventory. Beginning work in process was 70% complete. That's at 4,000. We completed 42,800. So those would be 100%, right? And our ending work in process was 40% complete. So how does that break down? Well, if I'm looking at equivalent units that were completed, if these were 70% complete, that means when I completed them, I had to do 30%. So 30% times that 4,000, when you're looking at this, shows equivalent units of 1,200. Now remember, we started and completed 38,800. Those are at 100%. So that means that is the equivalent unit of 38,800. We transferred out, completed, 42,800 here. Okay, that's what we said we transferred out. But if we add this and this, we find the equivalent unit of transfer was only 40,000, because some of these were already done. Now this becomes important when you're looking at costs, so just kind of go with the flow with this one. The ending inventory, okay, was 6,200, but it was 40% complete. So that comes to an equivalent units number of 2,480. So total cost to be assigned, okay, this says 49,000, those are our total units. But when we add up the equivalent units, the 12,000, the 38,800, and the 2,480, we're only going to assign costs on 42,480, even though we have total units of 49,000. These were in various stages of completion before we transferred things out. So that is what we're talking about with equivalent units. Now this we're going to look at, we're working with the same information. And this one kind of different because we're looking at materials. And the materials are added at the beginning of the process. So those 4,000 that were in process were totally done. I mean, as far as materials are concerned. They had to have other conversions done, but all the materials were in it. So when I'm looking at equivalent units for materials in this case, there were 0 because I already had all the materials in the last period. Now, for the 38,800 that I started and completed, it was 100% that I had to put into materials. So that's 38,800. And it says here we transferred out 42,800, but our equivalent units really were 38, right? Oops, I'm going to put that extra. So our equivalent units to this, as far as materials were concerned, is only 38,800. Inventory shows a total of 6,200, so that's total in process. And I have no idea why that is there. I think I reversed some numbers here. So if I add these two together, I end up with equivalent units of 45,000 that would be costed. So this already had all the amount in it. These we added, and this was what was left in inventory. These were started and completed. These were started but not completed. So our cost to be assigned would be 45,000. And now we're going to look at this. Determine the direct material and conversion cost per equivalent unit. So let's look at this. Equivalent units for materials was what? Let's just pull this down so you can see what we've done. So we're saying that our materials cost us $20,250, and our equivalent units for those materials was 45,000. So each part cost us 45 cents in materials. For conversion, right here, our cost was 42,000, or our conversion was 42,480. Our cost was $63.72. So that cost 15 cents to convert. So each unit actually cost 60 cents with materials and conversion. And that's how you use all those previous elements, and we put that all together. So now we're going to look at conversion here, and let's see what we end up with. So let's look at this. Inventory, in process, and the balance. Beginning inventory was 25,000. That was a given. And inventory in process at the beginning of the period was 1,200 for the conversion. See this? This was here. We had the direct materials already in. So we had 1,200 times that 15 cents. So we have costs of $180 for that. If we look at the cost of completing the beginning inventory, we had none, okay? We had this is our total cost. So we add, that is wrong. Should be 25,180. There. So we started and completed 38,800 times 45, 38,800 times 15. So that was 23,280. Okay, so let's kind of recap here. We had 25,000 to begin with. We added 180 in conversion costs, which give us a total complete cost to finish the beginning of 25,180. We started and completed 38,800. So we're going to multiply that times the cost for direct materials and times the cost for conversion costs. Comes to 23,280. If you add those two together, this is how much we transferred out. We transferred out that beginning inventory, and we transferred out what we started and completed. We had left 6,200 with all the materials in it at 45 cents. Remember the conversion, remember the equivalent units, and we had 2,480 at 15 cents. That gives us this 3,162 in the ending inventory. So total costs, okay, were $51,622. So that's kind of how this all plays out as you look at this. And these we are not going to use. These are just not necessary, so you can just delete those. So we have assigned total cost of $51,622 as you look at this. So we're now going to move into the whole scope of the process cost, and you're going to see a cost summary sheet that shows the amounts to be accounted for, the equivalent units, and then the reconciliation of those. So hold on to your hat. We're getting ready to take off and put this all together.